What's up guys, I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're driving and vibing.
Today we are taking a break from filming the RV Nomad documentary and heading down to Childress, Texas to visit a local winery.
Yes, we will be hanging out with Jessica and Robert of Exploring the Local Life and their two kids, Nadia and Daniel. And we're just gonna be hanging out and talking about full-time RVing with a family.
So stay tuned.
So we just met up with Robert and Jessica and we made it to the 501 winery and we are about to begin our wine tasting, and we are going to try the Sangiovese to start with.
This particular wine is very fruity in nature and has some very cherry-like overtones to it. Very easy drinking.
Okay, so I just tried the Iron Horse blend and that was really good. It's like you tasted it and you had a certain flavor and then it progressed onto all these other things. In the end, I felt like a little chocolatey deliciousness at the end. I don't know if there's any of that in there, but I like it.
So we are trying the Buck Creek right now, and this is another blend, but this one's a little bit sweeter. It's a blend between a Cab and a Sangiovese, so it's kind of more sweet than I typically go for, but it is kind of like a dessert right now. So we decided to come out on the patio. We got a nice bottle of red wine to share, and we've just kind of been chatting and talking and almost forgot that we were making a video out here. So these guys document their journey traveling as a full-time family over at Exploring the Local Life on their YouTube channel, and they are actually making a video about our hangout today as well, so make sure to go check that out too. But we kind of wanted to talk to these guys what it's like to travel with a family. But first of all, can you tell us how long you've been traveling and what you're traveling in?
Sure, yeah, we've got a 26-foot travel trailer. It has one slide, no residential fridge, and one air conditioning unit. And we have been on the road for 2.5 years, so it'll be 3 years in October.
Yes, and we actually met them in Georgia, in northern Georgia, just kind of accidentally in like a city or county park that was there, and Jessica came walking by and we just hit it off and we've been friends ever since. But they actually did a video of the outside of our rig. We didn't actually get an opportunity to do a tour of the inside at the time, but we'll link that video below so you can kind of see us like starting out in the beginning, new to YouTube, and our kind of where our friendship started.
Alright, so this is Robert, the other half of the adult segment of Exploring the Local Life, and 1/4 of the whole group. But so we are just talking about like living in an RV full time with a family.
Yep.
What's the first thing that comes to your mind now whenever I ask like what is one of the what's one of the biggest challenges about the process?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is just finding time to make sure you meet everybody's needs. Whether it's a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, or my darling wife, which we won't go into age, it's making sure that everybody has the attention they need and the space they need. Whether it's just even one spot of the dinette table is theirs. We gotta make sure we talk it through.
How long did that process take to really figure out the space of the RV and how each person has that space they need?
Well, I don't know really how long it took, but I do know that Jessica has her workspace. the kids have their play space, and I get to stand everywhere.
Is it an organic process in finding out everyone's place?
Yeah. The kids, they don't claim out, and they don't go and say, "This is my space."
Yeah.
But we did build out a workspace for Jessica to be at her computer, sitting down, where she needs to be in her own mindset with her headphones on, focused.
Yeah. Very cool.
Which I need to do that now that I have a full-time laptop now, that I don't have to share.
There you go. But in an RV with a family, I can only imagine that you're sharing so many things all the time. I mean, that's just the way I know Olivia and I have to, everything we have pretty much has to be dual purpose and dual use. How do you use a kid's toy for something else other than a kid's toy?
Well, the kids, they have a little tripod that was part of a toy they bought that we've actually done exploring the local life videos with on our cell phones. I mean, it was meant for their little maneuverable little doll, a stickbot, or a stickbot doll that we have used legit to do videos with. This is the perfect tripod for a phone.
Well, that's good to know that still kids' toys can have dual purposes among the RV.
Yeah.
And so now what's one of the most rewarding things about the full-time RV life with a family?
Well, I don't have any distractions to keep me away from my family. It's we're always together.
Yeah.
And when somebody wants to do something, we can make that decision to go do it. Now, on the flip side, was when we have an anchor dragging us down, that we get nothing accomplished. But we try to really weigh what their needs are, what their opinions are, into our day-to-day decisions.
Awesome.
So what are some considerations that you have to take in mind because you are a family on travel days and sticking to schedules? I imagine it can be a little bit more difficult.
It is. In essence, we don't really stick to a schedule. Like, we try to prep the kids the day before. We're like, all right, so this is the night before, like, moving day. We have to be up early. We got to get everything going, and it never, ever works. Like, when we are at an RV park or something that has, like, a checkout at 11 a.m., we never make that. Noon we might make, maybe. But we're kind of like pulling the kids into the RV. We're hopefully somebody has thought to maybe purchase some Lunchables or some snacks or something. So we have something on our travel day, but a lot of times we just jump in, everyone's hungry and miserable, and we just pull out.
And do you try to keep your travel days relatively short because of that, or do you just do what you have to do?
It depends. We prefer to have days where we're only driving like 3 or 4 hours and we get to do a lot of stops. Maybe the kids run around, maybe we find a playground. But that's probably like 50% of the time it works out that way. The other 50% we're like, all right, we gotta get there. We got a 7-hour and we're just like going. We'll go through like drive-thrus. Robert will get out and like just pick up like hamburgers and like not great stuff.
Yeah.
And we just like power through the day.
Yeah, but it does seem like since we've been hanging out, they both have kind of their iPads and they have their headphones and they can entertain themselves pretty well. And, you know, I guess it depends. How does your YouTube channel work into this too? Do they like to be on camera with you guys, or does it just depend on the day?
It completely depends on the day. And we do try to kind of like not necessarily focus on them so much just because we're not sure how much they want to be on camera. So we try to respect that as much as we can. A lot of times they're kind of like in the background. And a lot of the topics that we cover too is just sort of like, you know, the RV sewer hose, or we cleaned out our tanks, like things that they're not really necessarily going to have like an opinion about. Because when we do a lot more lifestyle stuff, some people aren't like necessarily interested in that in our channel, and some people actually are like, hey, your kids are loud, you need to quiet them up, you know. And so we just try to like break it up on like how we feel about the day. And when we do get responses like that, we're like, well, this is kind of like everyday life. They're not always just going to be quiet and sitting down proper in the background like they're kids. So
Yeah,
people,
real life.
Real life means that they interrupt. They have to go to the bathroom in the middle of our shoot. Like,
And that's what we really enjoy about you guys. You're very just like totally you and natural and organic, and what you present is you, and it's not like some show that you're putting on or anything. And we've really enjoyed getting to know you the past couple days, really, because we had that brief encounter in Georgia, but then we didn't see you for until now, years, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's been fun getting to hang out here while we're filming the movie. So are there any specific considerations you take into mind when choosing a campground because you have kids?
we absolutely do. Basically, if we're seeing that there's no playground and then they have a list of rules, like, all right, kids have to be like constantly supervised by their parent. Like if the rules just keep going on and on and on and on, we're like, this is not really a family-friendly place, you know. And not saying that there shouldn't be rules or anything like that governing like children and adult supervision. That's fine, but then we feel like they're going to be looking at us and be like, oh my gosh, those people have their kids, great, they have kids here. And then, you know, and we respect that. We know that some people aren't interested in having their kids, you know, kids running around everywhere, but we try to avoid those places just to also respect the needs of those people that are there. So we do try to find places that have playgrounds or maybe less rules concerning like kids and how supervised have to be at every single location. Because the more rules, the less family-friendly they tend to be.
And so have you had good luck with finding these family-friendly parks that maybe have other kids there and is a little bit more relaxed environment?
We have found a lot of places that do have playgrounds and things, but not necessarily families, because we tend to stay kind of like in Georgia and kind of like explore there, and then we do go to Florida. Florida is a lot more like, there's a lot more families there. So we're not necessarily always kind of engaging with other kids and other families. We prefer to, but it's not always found in Northwest Georgia.
Okay, so how do you integrate their education and school and stuff like that into your travels?
Well, we do what's called like unschooling, which it does not mean that the kids don't learn anything. It just means that we actually follow like their needs and their interests. So it actually kind of happens naturally. Like we'll go on a hike, and along the hike we'll find bones, or we'll find like a butterfly, and we'll talk about like science and life like in that moment. And I think it actually is more meaningful than sitting down with a book. Not saying that books are bad, books are great, but when you're actually, it becomes part of your everyday life, it's so much more natural, and it becomes integrated in an emotional, like learning type of thing, which I think is healthier, because as adults, that's kind of how we learn. Like we just experience life and we learn as we're just living. And we do that with our kids. So it hasn't been so difficult as we're integrating it just in every day-to-day life.
Well, you're exposed to so many new situations and experiences and things that I can imagine that can be really cool for them too, and it results in like real understanding of whatever you're talking about instead of memorization. So that's cool.
Or being like, this is science and now we're gonna do math. Like it all just kind of like becomes this one thing. We don't talk necessarily about science and math and reading. It just becomes this huge thing of just like learning and growing.
Yeah, like how it integrates into the real world and life and how they'll use it. That's very cool. So we have had so much fun hanging out, drinking wine, just getting to know these guys. Please go check them out at Exploring the Local Life. We'll link the video that they did above, and we have a barbecue to get to, so we need to get rolling. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.